eternal Spirit of God and truth, today we celebrate. We celebrate the faithful and personal journeys that have led us to this great day of commencement. We celebrate fiscal responsibility that has been shown in the prompt or at least eventual payment of parking tickets. We celebrate the curiosity of new things, or at least the endurance of completing our cultural credit requirements. But today, what we celebrate most is the love, care, and commitment to teaching and learning of this university. We thank you for the lessons we have learned from our professors and coaches, student life professionals, and most of all, from our friends and classmates. Lessons that will live with us long after diplomas turn to dust. Today we celebrate with a Holy Spirit of thanksgiving those whose sacrifice, generosity, and vision has made this journey possible and inspire us to pay it forward in the future so that others who follow our days will know the good of this experience. We invite you, O Lord, to lead us in this final celebration so that your joy and ours may be complete. For this day and all of our days, we thank you. Amen.
Please be seated. Welcome everyone to commencement ceremony on this beautiful, beautiful, inspiring May morning. And welcome to the Stetson faculty, staff, students, trustees, family members, and most of all, welcome graduates. We're here this morning to celebrate your accomplishments and to recognize those who've made this all possible. Your families, spouses, partners, parents, siblings, children, and your friends. So degree candidates, you're going to get a lot of exercise today. Please stand, turn, and applaud them as a show of your appreciation and thanks for their support. Thank you. Congratulations to all assembled here today. It is my honor to invite Harlan Butch-Paul, Chair of the Board of Trustees of Stetson University, to the lectern to offer greetings.
Thank you, Dr. Levy. Well, good morning. I'm Butch Paul, graduate of the class of 1976. And seated with me on the dais this morning are fellow trustees Steve Alexander, Jerry Crum, Patrick Lane, and Peter Matulis. And one of the most rewarding honors of serving as chair of the Board of Trustees is the honor of welcoming you, the graduates, and also the families and friends at such a momentous occasion as your graduation and the conferring of degrees. It's a chance to see all of your beaming faces and probably the even more beaming faces behind you, especially after achieving such an important milestone in your lives. Today you end a journey, and I know at times it's been challenging, at times it's been fun and exciting. And a journey that hopefully you realize is the end of one journey and maybe the beginning of another. Because although you've finished 4 and maybe some of you longer years here at Stetson, you will never stop learning. You're simply beginning a new journey in life, a journey that hopefully will be exciting, meaningful, rewarding, and a next stage in your life. Some of you will be starting careers, others will be going on to graduate school, but the members of the Board of Trustees are confident that whichever of these journeys you decide to take, Stetson University and this extraordinary faculty have well prepared and empowered you to both succeed and excel. So today, you leave this institution ready to make a difference in the world as you go on to lead lives of significance. And as I often tell my two sons, be sure to always challenge yourselves, but just as important, always, always, always have fun.
Also on our stage today and part of the platform party are members of my senior leadership team, Provost and Vice President for Academic Affairs, Elizabeth Beth Paul. Bob Youth, our CFO and Vice President for Business Affairs. Greg Carroll, Vice President of Marketing and Public Relations. Joel Bauman, Vice President for Enrollment. Chris Candace Fisher, Vice President of Student Affairs. Jeff Altrier, our Athletics Director. And Jeff Ulmer, Vice President for Development and Alumni Engagement, who I hope you will get to know a lot better over time. I'd also like to congratulate Professor David Schmidt and our brass ensemble, and thank you for bringing a regal and magisterial touch to our ceremony today. The order of commencement is printed in your program, so we will not continue to help lead you along. As a university committed to active forms of social responsibility, and as a university committed to being an inclusive community, we begin by affirming the Stetson University Litany for Community. Dean Thomas Gilmore Massey will lead us today.
Stetson University students, faculty, staff, family, and friends, we come together to celebrate and reaffirm our commitment to each other and to Stetson University, and to proclaim ourselves as active members of a loving and inclusive community. Strive to transform life for all. We celebrate and reaffirm our commitment to excellence in education as learners and teachers, and to our religious heritage, which inspires us to center our lives on the quest for meaning and truth. We celebrate and reaffirm our commitment to integrate education and action, scholarship and social responsibility for the purpose of promoting justice on our campus, in our nation, and throughout the world.
Thank you, Dean Massey. It's a tradition at Stetson University to be addressed by graduating seniors at commencement. To be selected is considered a high honor by students, faculty, and administrators. This year's student speakers are Jeremy Goldberg, representing the School of Business Administration, and Ariel Arthur, representing the School of Music. Jeremy is from Flagler Beach, Florida, and studied finance and statistics. Throughout his time at Stetson, he was heavily involved in Greek life, serving as Vice President of Recruitment for Delta Sigma Phi, and then President of the Interfraternity Council. Jeremy also participated in Focus, the university's orientation program, and served as co-coordinator for the 2017 incoming class. During his senior year, Jeremy spent most of his time in the Roland George Investment Program Lab as captain of Stetson's Chartered Financial Analyst team and was a George Program trustee for the Fixed Income Semester Program. In the fall, Jeremy plans on attending Washington University's Master of Science in Finance program. He's excited to be the School of Business Administration's commencement speaker because of the impact Stetson has made on him compared to his high school experience. It's supposed to be that way. And he wants to share it with everyone. Jeremy feels that Stetson forces people to get involved, which truly instills the core values of personal growth, intellectual development, and global citizenship into each student. Ariel Arthur is graduating from Stetson with a Bachelor of Music in Orchestral Performance. Originally from Orlando, Florida, Ariel's work with Stetson professor David Biella has led her to perform as co-principal cellist with both the Stetson University Symphonic Orchestra and Chamber Orchestra, and to place in several competitions, including honorable mention in the MTNA Young Artist Competition's regional division. Additional accolades include the Orlando Philharmonic Orchestra Substitute Cellist Award, the Duckwitz Talent Scholarship, the Olive T. Rosa Music Scholarship, the Tinsley Scholarship, the National League of American Pen Women Award, and frequent recognition on the Stetson's Dean's List. While at Stetson, Ariel was inducted as a member of Pi Kappa Lambda, the National Honor Society for Musicians. Having been admitted to many fine law schools across the country, Ariel plans to continue her education at either Washington University at St. Louis or Emory University Law School in Atlanta in the fall. Maybe she'll tell us which one today. I'm just so humbled to be able to speak to our class one final time, she said. We are incredibly proud for Jeremy and Ariel and for their individual achievements and contributions to Stetson. And now, Jeremy Goldberg, followed by Ariel Arthur.
Thank you. President Libby, distinguished faculty, families, friends, and fellow graduates, good morning. I'm truly humbled by the opportunity to speak to everyone, and I want to give a warm congratulations to the class of 2014. Also, it's Mother's Day tomorrow, so I have to say Happy Mother's Day to all the moms in the room. So a few weeks ago, I received an email from my academic advisor that said, in summary, BTW, you're the speaker, congrats. I was immediately filled with excitement, but I'd be lying if I said I wasn't a little bit nervous. Realistically, I was like, holy shoot. What am I supposed to say? You're welcome. I have the privilege and the honor of standing in front of my family, my closest friends, their families, people that have no idea who I am, and providing some profound speech that's supposed to be motivational and inspirational. We already know Webster's definition of graduation, and we already know today's supposedly the first day of the rest of our lives. So I don't want to bore you guys with overused cliches, just personal anecdotes that hopefully keep you engaged for the next 5 minutes or so. I was probably the most mediocre, average student in high school. And that gave me this internal motivation to be better in college. I wanted to be successful. And I don't necessarily think that success can be defined by leadership positions that I've held or that anybody else has held. I think success is the difference between the person I came into Stetson as and the person that I am today. It's how I've changed and who I've impacted. Freshman year, I found my home in Greek life. Now, this is no ordinary Greek life. This is Stetson Greek life. This Greek system challenges the status quo and fights a stereotype. I didn't buy in because of the frat life norm that's portrayed in movies like Animal House and other forms of media. I bought in because of the brotherhood and the loyalty. This group of men challenged me and changed my life. They provided me the opportunity to grow and develop into a leader that I saw in seniors when I was just a freshman. Members of my fraternity encouraged me to get involved with this little orientation program called Focus. And without this program, my Stetson experience would not nearly have been as great as it was. And that's because of people like Rosalie Carpenter, who's the Dean of Students, who cares so passionately about each and every one of the students here that she does everything she can to help them maximize their potential. She did that for me, and she did that for everybody else involved in the orientation program. On top of Greek life and Focus, I briefly want to mention the best academic experience that I've had, and that was being a member of the Roland George Investments Program. I'm not here to give a sales pitch on the program because all the awards should speak for themselves. I'm here because programs like Roland George, professors like Dr. Casey Ma, real-life experiences managing a $3.4 million portfolio aren't at other institutions. They are, however, at Stetson, and that's what makes us significant. Greek life, Focus, Roland George. These are just a few aspects of my Stetson career that reassure me that I made the best decision possible coming to this institution. Because of them, people often say to me, "Wow, Jeremy, you must have had such an amazing college experience." And I can never say yes to that answer because I don't think college is an experience. It's a bunch of moments. College is something that we complete. Life is what we experience. And Stetson was filled with moments that contributed to who we are, who we become, and what we do. So what's the next moment? How do we move forward? I'm kind of a geek, and over the past few years, I was often made fun of because I could be found sitting in my room at my desk underneath my lofted bed playing with Rubik's Cubes on Saturday nights. Where's this going? I know. I'm going to make a bold statement here and say that a Rubik's Cube is symbolic of the future and what our lives can be. I say this because the amount of possibilities that we have from this day on is like a Rubik's Cube. That little 3x3x3 toy has more possibilities than light. The speed of light travels inches in a century. Bear with me. The speed of light is 186,000 miles per second, right? I'm not going to get into how many seconds there are in a century, but there's a lot. And the end result is 37 quintillion inches in a century. That's 37 with 18 zeros after it. Well, that little Rubik's Cube actually has 43 quintillion different possibilities from start to finish. Jeremy, you ask, how is this life? So much of what we do is spent planning, preparing, worrying, and assessing what's going to happen next. We can't predict everything. Let's survey the landscape of people and events constantly bombarding our lives in which we're trying to predict. We have our families, our friends, co-workers, not to mention the admissions advisor that accepted you into the university, and anybody else that indirectly impacts our lives without us knowing it. And on top of that, the whole butterfly effect thing. And we're asked, what's next? How are we supposed to know? How do we know what to do? Well, we have this Rubik's Cube in our hand with 43 quintillion different possibilities. But guess what? It's possible to make the right move because there really isn't a wrong one to make. As long as we're making moves, we're making progress. There are so many different paths we can take from here on out to get to our end goal, to make it to our dream job, to retire by a certain age. Sometimes it may not seem like we're twisting it the right way. You know when you're trying to get the green to all line up on the bottom, but you twist it and the red ones kind of just scatter everywhere? Greek life, Focus, and Roland George were parts of my puzzle for the past 4 years. But now it's about the future and moving forward. And I don't know how you guys feel, but I'm constantly wondering if all the decisions I'm making now are the best decisions possible for my future. And then I think back to that little cube with 43 quintillion different possibilities and what move I should make. And the funny thing about that little cube is it doesn't matter how messed up a Rubik's Cube is. With a little time, knowledge, dedication, and maybe some help from some friends, it can always be solved. Which brings us to graduation. This moment is simply a start to the moves we'll make, the places we'll go, the people we'll meet, the moments we'll remember, and the stories we will never forget. Create those stories and solve your Rubik's Cube. I know every graduate in here made an impact on Stetson. And I sure as hell know Stetson made an impact on me. I look forward to coming back for homecoming and seeing all the great things everyone has done. Thank you, and good luck after graduation.
President Livy, Provost Paul, deans, trustees, officers of the university, and assembled guests. When selected to present this speech, I thought about all the things I experienced while here. And to be completely honest, I had no idea I would end up loving it this much. We hear about the Stetson experience, and while I didn't get to experience it that much, I did experience the presser experience. There wasn't really time to escape and see what was going on elsewhere because of our jam-packed schedules made up of 10 classes a semester, plus having to practice our instruments, and then piano and homework on top. Honestly, some days or weeks, I couldn't even call my mom to check in. However, each hour spent inside the School of Music allowed us to gain more wisdom as to what it takes to make it in the real music world. One of my fondest memories happened the day before the first day of classes my freshman year. I heard a knock on the door. It was Mr. Biela. I was practicing. He said, "Ariel, every day you're going to wake up and you're going to have to jump on the practicing train." I needed to get myself to connect to what I was doing in the present moment. For so long, I thought if I drilled myself, getting things up to performance tempo, I would get it. I would be perfect. But then I realized that wasn't enough. Those things are vital to being a musician, but they are not why we get paid the big bucks. It's for the performance. No one connects with individual notes. No one sees you in the practice room for 6 hours a day. They see only what you give to them in that present moment. They hear the long melodies. They hear the vulnerability. They hear the feeling and feel the power of music seeping into the deepest corners of their souls. Mr. Hose, the orchestra director, has frequently said, "You never know if someone spent their last dollar to hear you perform. The music you create can be their hope. Make it count." And we have learned to make it count because we have become a family. We do life together in Presser Hall. Every morning when we're greeted by Maria Francis's smiling face, or when we rally together after a faculty member has passed away, when we watch the Men of Hat Trick serenade Dr. West on Valentine's Day, or when we finally connected the dots in Dr. Painter's Theory 4 class. Those moments, those collective moments of love, sadness, awe, and victory have molded us as people, as musicians, as a family. One of the coolest things about families is the fact that everyone from the outside can see that there's a resemblance, a connection. It doesn't have to be solely based on physical appearances, but on the mannerisms and similar language used between them. Whether it's the countless times I've seen people conducting in the quad by themselves and only the music in their head, or hearing people cram for sight singing tests in the coffee shop, we share that language. To the ones outside of the School of Music, I get it. We seem a little crazy. But to us, it makes us just a little bit closer. And the closer we become, the more like family we are. So what do families do? They laugh together. We laugh together. Like the late nights spent in the lab doing absolutely nothing. They get mad at each other. we get mad at each other. Like when you found out you and your best friend signed up for the same senior recital date and one of you had to change. They are proud of each other. And by God, we are proud of each other. Like when Spencer Jones was announced as winner of this year's concerto competition, or Justin Ward-Weber decided to go to NYU Steinhardt School of Music for composition and film scoring. But most importantly, they love each other more deeply as each day passes. But families don't stay in the same place forever. They branch out and find their footing on their own. And that's where we are now. Each one of us trying to find our next step in life. Some of us are heading to prestigious graduate schools to perfect our art form even more. Some of us are going to teach little ones the importance of learning music and keeping it integrated in their life. Some are getting married, and some doing completely different things. But no matter where the next step lies for each of us, it's nice to know we'll have family all over the world. We are Presser, the ups and the downs. We have seen each other triumph and stumble, but no matter what happens at the end of the day, we will always share that name. Thank you, classmates and faculty, for being my family.